Danny on the beat, boy.
Welcome to another live episode of Halftime Adjustments. Your host, Daddy Arnett, my man G Witt, Mr. J. Lou. What's going on, gentlemen?
Tighten up, baby.
Tighten up, man. Titans finally return home, guys. Been on the road for it seems like quite some time. Come home to face the 1-9 Panthers. So the opportunity to end that 3-game streak of losing. And to quote my man Big Jeff, he said, "It's time to stop talking. When we gonna start playing and start taking care of business?" Basically, Titans 17, Panthers 10. J. Lou, 3 takeaways from this one, man. What you saw today? Any hope or still selling?
I mean, there's small hope when you continue to look to the future. I know the season's not over. I mean, anything can happen. But I thought once the offensive line settled in, I mean, they only gave up 1 sack today. Now again, it wasn't great by any means, and pressure was still there. And I mean, the Panthers' record might be 1-10. They got some dogs on that D line, as we saw. But I thought once they settled in, they played okay. It was nice to see that you hope that the 5 that you saw today will be the same 5 that can go out there next week to build some continuity, because this was the Titans today started the 8th different offensive line unit in the season, and we're in game what 11? Yeah, we're 4 into game 11. So when you started 8 different set of 5 in 11 games, they can't build any continuity there. So you hope that they can build on that. It was good to see the defense do what they should have done. We saw offensive line that was pretty bad. Let's just be honest. I seen Big Jeff hurt an offensive lineman by pushing him with one arm. I've never seen that in the history of watching football, but he hurt an offensive lineman pushing him with one arm. But they did that. The defense beat up on a team they're supposed to beat up on. So I thought that was good. And then this is going to be the wild card. And again, I know what it was from a passing standpoint, etc. But number 35, his name slips me because
Kevon Wallace.
Wallace. Didn't even know who he was when they introduced the starting defense. I thought he played phenomenal at the safety position. Like, it was, again, I haven't went back and watched the TV copy, but just seeing him in person, he was all over the field and in position. And I really thought that he played for somebody that, again, didn't know who he was. You knew Edmonds was a healthy scratch or whatnot. For him to be playing, for him to play as well as he did, I thought you saw him take that role that Byard had as far as free safety, and it moved Hooker back to his role. And I got to give one wild card. This is just the 4th one. We finally probably found a team with worse offensive play calling than the Titans.
Fred Wright, man. Fred
Wright. Yeah. So, would that be my takeaways from the game today?
G Witt, what you got, man?
Pretty much almost the same thing. I would say this. Looking at the offensive line, really thought Duncan was pretty solid. You know, not great, not fantastic, but I thought he held up well for it being his first start. So, like you said, J. Lou, we may finally have some continuity on that offensive line. I didn't see anything that would make me think that they're going to even consider putting Dillard back out there. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's a good thing. I agree with you as far as the safety is concerned. I thought he did well. I thought overall, you know, he kind of helped solidify the secondary. Granted, Bryce Young didn't have a whole lot of time to throw. He was scrambling for his life. But at the same time, I thought they did a good job, even when he was scrambling, how they plastered and maintained their coverage. Let me see. The other thing was, again, I thought Will Levis played a solid game. Mm-hmm. He had a couple of bad throws. He had a couple of throws. He's gonna look at the film and smack himself across the face for missing them. But other than that, though, I think really they were really good. And I would throw this caveat out there, and you guys are going to explain this one to me. Who the heck on the defensive staff thought that having a linebacker abandon the middle of the field and go deep was a smart play.
That's one of my
I can
points.
tell you.
That's one of my points.
I can tell you who did that. That'd be Eddie's guy Bowen. Because I'll save it for you, Eddie. Because man, your guy today should have been. He should have got his walk.
He should have got his papers as soon as the game was over with.
Oh my gosh! I'm gonna hit that when we talk about defense. My takeaways real quick. So you had Dow at gunner, which I thought he played very well at gunner. He had some speed to get down there to something that G was always talking about, not having no speed as a gunner. And Stonehouse was kicking the fire of that ball.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they would flip the field position. You put a rookie quarterback starting inside his 10-yard line 5 times inside the 20 at least. And so making him to drive the whole field, requiring him not to make a mistake. And the Eagles just had a walk-off win. Yeah. So I thought Tim Kelly got a little too pass happy for me. Levis had 28 pass attempts. King Henry only had 10 carries in the first half, 18 for the game. This is the first time they've won this year with him having less than 20 carries. So I thought he could have had more. And while I wasn't on the field, we talk about this a lot on 3rd and short situations. He was just, I just don't understand. When you put him in a game, you at least have the defense bite on the run. Play action is more effective. And then one wild card, you had one, Jayla, I got one too. Monty Rice is a liability in the run game. The one and only touchdown the Panthers scored today, he lost his gap integrity. Ooh. And Shair had to play on his side. It was his gap. I don't know why he went over there. They showed it from the end zone view, so it was good to really see what happened. And he just left his hole. Yeah. And so I can see why he's not getting to play a whole bunch. Yeah. He played more today than he did last week, but you can see why, because he's not holding his gap integrity very well. And so let's look at this offense a little bit, because you guys have kind of hit some things, and I'm curious to see what you guys thought about the offense today. But G Witt, man, tell me a little bit more about the offense, what you saw today from your perspective.
Well, I would say this: I thought the offense played for the most part okay. Second half was the play calling. Tim Kelly had no rhythm whatsoever. None. He had no feel for the game or anything like that. He did a better job in the first half, I thought, but something happened at halftime where he absolutely had no feel for the game. Some things you just saw him doing is like, okay, you have a play action to Derrick Henry, you were running it well. Will Levis was bringing the ball out, and pretty much drilling it. Mm-hmm. And you gain 30 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards. And instead of you doing the opposite of what's been the trend, you go back and do the trend and you run Derrick Henry and he gets stopped for a loss or a gain, maybe 1 yard. You come back. My whole thing is always this: get a feel for the game. If you throw off a play action and these guys are looking at you and they know your trend is to run on the next play, go back to play action. Mm-hmm. Catch him off guard. It doesn't matter if it's 5 yards, 10 yards, whatever. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if you throw an incompletion. Just go back to play action to give them something else to think about. I thought the King ran well today when they gave him a chance. I agree. I don't understand why he's not out there on 3rd down, especially on 3rd and short. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do nothing, again, it's about giving your team opportunities. And when he's out there as a threat, you saw Philly. You saw Carolina. Every time Derrick Henry was on and they thought it was going to be a run, you saw the safeties creeping up every time. And, Will Levis is going to get to the point to where, and I understand him being a rookie, he's going to call the plays. He can check out of some plays, but he's going to maintain the integrity of what Tim Kelly calls. He's going to get to the point to where he can see that coming and check out of that play and go to play action to draw those safeties in and bring somebody open. I thought overall, again, Will Levis, he had 2 bad throws, but overall I thought he did a good job throwing the ball. I agree we didn't run the ball enough, especially in that second half. I thought, man, come on, you hitting some outside runs. You got to go back to them. Right. And I'm going to say officiating was questionable today. Very questionable. Some things I just didn't understand. But again, overall, I thought the receivers did well catching the ball. It's good to see Chig get back in the groove, catching the ball. But he was spending plenty of time on the jugs machine after practice all week long, and Tony Dews just said he's got to work harder. He's got to do what he needs to do. So you saw the fruition of that. But I thought D Hop, of course, was the same. I thought NWI made some good catches. So overall, it was just, I thought offensively it was pretty solid. With the exception of the second half, they just could not mount a drive, and I think a lot of that goes back to play call.
Yeah, and let me do this, Jay Lou, and I'll come to you. Appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Eddie Gray, Will in the building, Nathan, Darius, Dion is here, man. Rodney, thank y'all for coming in, man. Taylor just joined us, man. So let's keep it moving. Jay Lou, talk about this offense, man. What you saw from your end zone view.
Yeah, so I agree with G Witt. I thought Will played. You continue to see improvement from him. I'll tell you the one thing that I just boggles my mind. And this goes back to I'm not on the get rid of Vrabel train. I'm on the get some people in here that can develop. Because if you go back and look at Will Levis's game in college, he's pretty good at using his legs. And I feel like they're trying to turn him into a pocket statue back there. And again, if you just look at that, I liken it to Malik. When we saw Malik last year, he was basically playing on what he knew. So we always saw him taking off. And when you've seen him get in a few times this preseason, even the game in Baltimore, to me, it seems like the overcoaching of stay in the pocket was getting in his head when he could take off. And I think that's the same thing you're seeing with Will Levis, because to G. Witt's point, a couple of those bad throws, if he moves his feet, he either can scramble for some yards or he can have a different position to get rid of it. So
he had a deep shot to hop for a touchdown.
Yeah. He was wide open. That was on my end. He was wide open. But I think that just goes back to what G Witt just mentioned about, being a rookie and trying to, hey, this is the play I call, run it to fruition. So I think that's the one thing that I would like to see them change. Again, I thought Derrick Henry had an extra gear today. Good to see him finally go over 9,000 yards in his career. I think he passed beast mode on the touchdowns. And that second touchdown was all him. The line got blown up. That was all him. Just running.
The first one was all him.
First one was all him. Yeah, the second one came around the end. The first one, everybody got blown up on the line, and he made the third effort and got it. Now, I thought he ran well. Good to see. You see NWI and Chris Moore. You see how they truly are fitting their role when you got a true number one in D Hop. Because they are good 2 and 3 wide receivers on a team. I didn't think Phillips got enough play today for as much passing as we did. Didn't see a lot from him. I hope my whole section row, we were talking about Chig. I mean, it was the first couple catches. We were shocked he caught the ball. I mean, Chig has had the drops. It's good to see that. You continue to see Wiley. He made that was a heck of a throw by Will Levis with 3 white jerseys around. He threw a bullet, and it was behind Wiley, but he's such a big guy, made the adjustment on it to make that catch. And then again, I'll 100% agree. It's like Frank Wright and our offensive coach Tim Kelly was trying to outdo each other on who could call the worst set of plays. We ran a play action to the left side, I think. Play action screen, and you threw the screen pass to the same side you ran the play action on, where everybody was over there, which it should have been picked. It's just play calls like that. That's bonehead, stupid football, as you would call it. So there's no feel. We come out of halftime. Again, you can't get over that 17-point hump. You spotted yourself 17 points, and again, you playing a team that you're supposed to beat. But you would like to see them come out in the second half and continue to keep their foot on the gas and put up more points. And we just couldn't sustain drives. But overall, like I said, I think the players that needed to step up, your Henrys, your D Hops, and again your Will Levises, I thought overall they played well. And then I'll give Jalen Duncan kudos. Again, he's a rookie, first start. I think I've seen them send him tight end chip help 3 or 4 times. That's it. He was on an island the majority of the game. And I will say this, Brunskill, he got blown up today. He got blown up a few times today. So again, we continue to see that this team is only as good as his offensive line, which is not that good today. But if they could just give you average play, which is what we've seen today, if you could get average play with decent play calling, you got an opportunity to let your playmakers make some plays.
Yeah, and so I had some of the same things you guys had. Duncan, he got put in the backfield the first play of the game, pass pro, but he held his own after that. I thought he settled in, like you guys both said. Chig had a bounce back game, had that on there, and then 2 for 11 on third down. Offense couldn't stay on the field, convert. We talked about Levis missing D Hop for the long touchdown pass. Brewer. Again, you see him undersized, getting whooped by Derek Brown. Now, Derek Brown's a beast of a defensive tackle. He was Brewer, he was Brunskill. So yeah, I'm with you. Brunskill, he had his games early on, but it seemed like here lately he's starting to get put in the backfield a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, if even the commentator said it, when your offensive line is that bad, you got to do something to help them out. You got to get the ball out quicker. You got to do some no huddle. You got to do different things to kind of mix it up and kind of keep the defense on their heels. But 264 yards for the offense today, 2 of 11 on third down, like I mentioned. 184 passing and 80 rushing today, guys. 8 penalties, costly false start penalties today. 3 of them, it seemed like they was in a row. And I will say this. Here's to your point, Jay Lee, what you mentioned about the play calling. Here's the thing, and we saw the same thing last week. They line up they bring in the Big Jeff package, right? They line up. They have maybe a false start.
No, it was timeout. We called timeout.
Yep. But Jeff went in motion.
Yep.
And they kind of ran the play, and they came back and ran the same play.
Same play. Yes.
I was like, wow. Okay.
Makes no sense. And the Panthers saw it and just stopped it. I mean, it makes no sense.
Dion says Vrabel saw us having success in the first half and told Tim Kelly to stop it in the second half. Oh man, but yeah, it was pretty funny to see that because they did the same thing last week. Mm-hmm. And I will say this too about Derrick Henry, and Dion makes another good point. His first touchdown run, I thought we saw an old gear that he had. Mm-hmm. I mean, he really hit that corner. I mean, we hadn't seen that gear in a while, and it was nice to see that today. And so, flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, Jay Lou, let's talk about the defense bag because I think both of y'all are going to agree with me on this. Go ahead. I'm going to let you go.
So defense, glad to see Arden. Again, I'm glad to see the front four make some plays. I will say this. I haven't seen it on TV, and TV does make Mr. Bryce Young look small. It's small. Worse in person. Like the kicker and punter are bigger than him. Like it's like Big Jeff and Danico tackled him a few times, and it was like a man and a little baby boy because it was just ridiculous. But Big Jeff has hit another gear. We've seen the last couple of weeks. Again, he was manhandling the offensive line. I thought the run game was iffy. And I think a lot of that had to do with some of the formations we were just running on defense. Again, I think Azir is a little hurt because you saw them spelling him a lot more today. And to your point, Monty Rice, maybe we see you now why Gibby is ahead of him on the depth chart. Christian Fulton has got to. It's at this point we might as well just accept that he's got six or seven games. How many games we got left? He's got that many games left. Go ahead.
Can I say something real quick? I'm sorry for butting in.
No, you good.
So we saw during the week what Bowen said. I sent y'all the press conference what Bowen said that it's up to the players if they're gonna press or not. Mm-hmm. So of course I didn't get to go to the game today, but looking on it from TV, I see SMB up on the line. I see Fulton off more often than not.
Every single time.
So what kind of coverage are you running? Number one, and why are you not adjusting that some kind of way?
Every single time. That's what we were yelling in the stands is why you have one corner in press coverage and the other one is by if it's 3rd and 8, he's 9 yards off the ball every single time. Even the 3rd and 17, he was 16 yards off the ball. I will say that you saw today, as bad as Fulton is, I'm glad that he was available and SMB was back because you saw why Roger McCreary, as we said last week, is a better slot wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, he balled today.
He balled today.
But
again, I think the one thing that I continue to say, and this is Shane Bowen just will not change. We still don't know how to disguise blitzes.
Nope.
And we still just don't run enough because I feel like you were giving Bryce Young a little too much time. Now, I will say one thing I saw different today. The stunts on the front from the front four wasn't the same. Like he didn't have a lot of room to escape. The few escapes he made, that's just good plays.
Weaver.
Just good plays. But I felt like the stunts wasn't as good today. But overall, just the defensive play calling continues to be a head scratcher for this team. The very first play of the game for Carolina, I'm almost 100% positive Landry was in coverage. I'm almost 100% positive I seen Landry drop in coverage on the first play of the game. But like I said again, Tart's Tart. And to G Witt's point, I paid attention more today when Pecco was coming in, and you right. They run right up the gut of him.
You see it.
Right up the gut over him like clockwork. But overall, like I said, they did what they were supposed to do. Beat up a team that was worse. Play calling on that side definitely didn't help because it's definitely a fireable offense when you run 4th and 6 and you run a screen pass at the end of the game. I don't know. Yeah, it's like literally they had to think it was 3rd down. And that is a form of tanking and not even hiding it because that was a give up play if I ever seen one. But overall, I thought the defense, and you have to. What I liked about the defense today, it wasn't a lot of the bend don't break, but they always say your punt team is an extension of the defense. And you saw them after every punt of Stonehouse, the defense dapping them up. He put the defense in great field position. Basically, you won the game. The turnover happened after a punt inside the 5. You get the strip sack and down there and score. That's your ball game difference right there because we didn't score the second half.
So let me get this question answered real quick, G, and I'll come to you. So Dion says, hold up, our DBs have the option to press or play off the line. So, Dion, I know you in Texas, man. Appreciate you joining us every week. So Bowen, this week that this happened, he came out in his press conference and said the DBs, and these guys can verify it, have the option to whether they press or not.
Yep.
That's what he said. And so I'm like, wow. And he's the DC that we have? Yeah, something need to change there. Go ahead, G.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I agree with you, J. Lou. I was up in the stands on my side. I'm like, how many times did he run a blitz? Twice?
Twice. Maybe twice.
Okay, good. I'm making sure I saw it all.
You saw it right.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't understand that. I'm like, dude, really? You're not. I mean, you in 3rd and forever, and you don't pressure the quarterback, and you let him run around like crazy, subjecting Big Jeff to injury, and because he's having to run so much.
Yes.
I will say this though. Overall, I thought the D line did a good job. Yeah, we all know now why Monty Rice ain't been playing. Because, again, he's got that Rashad Evans mentality. He keeps missing his gaps, no gap integrity. But the problem you have is that Gibbons is so slow. He hesitates when he sees the play. There was a couple of times he could have stopped the run from the get-go, and he hesitated because I think he was more afraid of the guy going past him out of his slot. And I'm like, dude, you're already in a position to stop the cutback. So all you got to do is just tackle. Fulton is just he is who he is. Like you said, we got 6 games left, and that's what we're going to have to deal with. Because this man really, like I said, the thing that bothers me more about him, as bad as his coverage has been, and his untimely penalties have been, he doesn't like to tackle. If it's not a receiver the size of what's the receiver for Philly? Smith,
Smith.
Slim Reaper.
If it ain't a guy that size, he's not going to touch him whatsoever. He's not tackling a running back. He's not tackling a tight end. He's going to Olay all the time. My thing, I would give you credit, like Roger McCreary played a heck of a game today.
He did.
Great bounce back game for him.
Yes.
And you saw his tackling ability. That's the thing you really like about him. I thought, again, with Kevon Williams playing safety, I thought that was great because it brought Molden in the nickel packages and dime packages, and he actually fit better in that situation as opposed to being the starting safety. Yep. So I thought that was right. I agree with everybody. Shane Bowen he should have had his papers given to him after the game. There's absolutely
last week.
There's absolutely, positively no way you call a defensive scheme where your linebackers vacate the middle on a 2nd and long and 3rd and long, and they got running back responsibilities. Who the heck does that? I mean, on the touchdown run, if he's got his linebacker in the middle, that pass doesn't go as far as it does. I ain't figured it out yet. And at first I thought it was just because it was Gibbons in the game. He's trying to, but then Sherrill was in the game and he did the same thing.
Same thing.
Like, who does that?
Yeah.
I've never, in all my years of watching professional football, I have never seen a defense scheme like that, where you just absolutely abandon the middle, and all they got to do, the running back leaks out the backfield, catches the ball, and he's gone.
10 yards before somebody's near him.
At least. I'm like, who does that?
Gosh. Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, but other than that, though, man, in all honesty, I again, it was a trash. Carolina's trash. Let's just be honest.
Oh God, yes.
Carolina's trash. Bryce Young is the truth, though. Bryce Young is the truth. I give him credit. The ball comes out of his hands quick.
Mhm.
I got to give him credit. When he's got time, he's in the same boat as Will Levis. He needs a good offensive line
Yeah.
and a good running game, and he'll be fine. But now he's got to find a new coach, a new offensive coordinator, because Frank Reich calling the plays, man. It's just he's just gonna kill you. He's just gonna kill you. I mean, the bottom line is he shouldn't be a head coach at all. I don't even know he should be an OC. But anyway, overall, I thought the defense did okay. I mean, considering the fact they had to keep going back out there in the second half because the offense couldn't mount a drive. But I thought they did okay. Timely sacks all the way around. Danico with his 3, Big Jeff with his 1. They said Danico only had 2, right?
Yeah, it was Danico, Arden Key, and Big Jeff.
And Jeff.
Yeah.
4 sacks.
And I thought those were some timely sacks and everything, but we kept shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, you on 3rd and long, you get a stop and you get a penalty. It's either defensive holding or pass interference.
Right.
And I'm like, it's just one of them things, man. I'm like, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot, man. This ain't gonna work. And like you said, luckily it was a trash team.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Luckily it was a trash team, but next week it ain't gonna be that way.
No, and Christian Fulton always throwing his hands up.
Yeah. I mean,
you holding, man.
You were around the man's waist.
You were holding, and you were holding so blatantly they called you 19 instead of 20.
Called 19. I was like, who was 19? Taylor said, "Why is he still on the field if he's that bad? Because you don't have much left after him.
You don't have much left.
You got Avery, but Avery
gets.
Yeah,
you might as well call him the second coming of Deron Jenkins. He's just toast.
Yeah. So, you guys already mentioned Big Jeff dominating. I mean, the last few weeks. So, if you're going to come out and say it's time to stop talking and play, you better pick your game up. And he has.
And he has.
I mean, they even tried to double team him, and they couldn't double team him today.
Nah, it was a wrap.
Kayvon Wallace, I thought he brought a level of physicality to the secondary. I really like him. I don't know what they're going to do with him after the season is over. I really like what he brings to the team. He's got some good speed, too, good instincts. And so, let's go back and talk about the bracket coverage, because then I'm going to bring up something else and see if y'all caught it, too. So, why are we bracket covering Adam Thielen? He's not a burner. Okay, he's a route runner. I'll give him that. But he's not the same route runner he was in Minnesota. Why are we bracket covering him? When McCreary was on him one-on-one, I thought he did a great job.
Yep.
I thought he did a great job. So to your point, your question, G, why would he vacate the middle of the defense with an underneath linebacker bracketing the receiver? Who knows? And you're only rushing 4 guys. So now the running back has no responsibility for pass protection. So that to me, that was just, I mean that just goes along with what he said. The DBs can choose whether or not they press or not. I mean that just puts the icing on the cake for me. And so here's the other one. Second half, it might have been 3rd quarter, 4th quarter. It was 3rd and long. It's like 3rd and 16. He lines up 4. He drops Harold Landry in the coverage. Rushes 3, and they get the 3rd down conversion.
Yes.
I'm like, what?
Yes.
What?
Oh yeah.
What is that?
As G pointed out, they did it twice. They had one spot where it was 1st and 20, and it was 2nd and 1 on the next play.
Yeah.
Because we did the same thing.
Did the same thing.
Right.
It's just, and It ain't about execution. It's just bad scheme, bad play calling.
That's just bad scheme all overall. Eddie Gray brings up a point. He says he can't lie. Saw the Fox graphic before the game. Vrabel was 51 and 41. Thing we need to put some more respect on his name. Now, great point. Great question. Something else that came out this week we talked about text between. So another article came out about Braves this week, and they were saying you really got to look through the mystique of Vrabel and look at the team he had, the talent he inherited when he first got here. I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but to your point, J. Lou, you've been saying it for the past, probably this whole season.
Yes.
That if he don't have the talent, he's not going to develop him, and you go get what you get right now. So he's got to have a talent-laden team, which he had when he first got here.
That team he took over, who had just came off
9-7 season, right?
Playoff win,
right.
And then he went and got him a veteran quarterback because again, Marcus is what he is. Had a rough game, and he's gone. You make the change to put a veteran quarterback with a veteran team, and you just Vrabel to me took that veteran team to that next level. I don't know if he's capable of taking a team. It's why all the talk about the rumors about him in Ohio State. I don't see how he fits in college because I can't see him trying to mentor and develop teenagers if he lands alone the NFL player. So yeah, I won't say he's not a bad coach. I think he's a good coach. I think he needs to. We've said that. We said that 2 or 3 years ago when he was the fake defensive coordinator and didn't name one. He's good at being a CEO. He's just got to get, as G. Witt's been pointing out, he's got to get coordinators around him that know how to manage the game and have a feel for football.
I would say this. I thought Jim Schwartz's comment before the Browns game was really telling in all of this. Because his comment, when they asked him about Vrabel, he said it best. Vrabel's a good game manager.
That's right.
He says he's probably the best game manager I've been around. And that's all you want him to be.
That's
all you want to be.
That's all you want him to be. The whole thing about this is, and you know, when you talk about development and everything, I still go back to my same comment I've been making. You got to have good coordinators.
Yes.
Coordinators are the ones who really develop the talent.
That's right. You
know, DPs, Jim Schwartz, when they both had control of the defense was always solid. Even with weak players, they were solid. I mean, think about it. With all the ups and downs with the injuries and everything over the past 2 seasons in that secondary, we were still a solid defense. And that's attributed to Jim Schwartz.
Right.
Because you see now you have less injuries and the defense is worse.
Yes.
So it's always come back down to having a good coordinator, because a good coordinator will put players in positions to utilize their strength. You know, and that's the whole point. Vrabel, no, he's not a developer of talent. He's a game manager. As far as running a game on Sundays,
he's the best. He's one of the best. One of the best. One of the best. Yeah.
But but the bottom line is Vrabel is still hooked on this thing, and we've said it. We beat the drums about it. He is not a coordinator. He's just not.
He's not.
He has got to go out and find a defensive coordinator. And the Patriot way of promoting from within is not going to work with who he's got.
No.
The Patriot way is dead. Okay, let's just be honest about it. It's dead. You have to go out and find you somebody. I will take, even if he's available and he wants to come back, pick up Greg Williams for a season or 2.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that.
Somebody did mention that one.
Because what you got doesn't work. And it's not like you don't have talent on that defensive side of the ball. It's not like you don't.
This ain't 2020 when you made the excuse where it was the players.
Yeah.
And we went out and got your players.
So you go back to, speaking of good coordinators, you go back to Dean Pease. We didn't have a lot of speed in the secondary.
No.
Y'all remember that?
No.
But he ran a good scheme.
Yeah.
And they gave up some stuff, but he blitzed. He blitzed. He knew his strengths and his weaknesses because, that's what we found out. Cruikshank could cover tight ends.
Yes.
And I mean, even the game, just think about this too. The game plan against Lamar Jackson in that playoff game was brilliant. Brilliant. But so let me get some more of these comments in. Rodney says Vrabel's stubborn. You right, man, about that. Virgil says that Wallace is a former student of his. He's a good guy, stays in touch with his middle and high school. So that's pretty cool,
Oh,
man. Appreciate
okay.
that comment, man. Thank you very much. And so, the defense is what it is at this point. No changes during the season. We know Vrabel doesn't do that.
yeah.
Everybody else does that except for us. 258 yards for the Panthers today, 162 passing, 96 rushing, and then one turnover, of course, on the strip sack by Arden Key. Arden Key finally shows up, has his first sack in 2 months, I think it was.
First sack since
like
game one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which is pretty interesting. Like you said, Jay, I think you said it last week. He was a training camp hype machine. So
hype machine. And we see why, because he was going against a bad offensive line.
You're right. And so you look at special teams, kind of mentioned already. Stonehouse, I'm gonna give him the MVP for the day, man, because he really punted the ball well. And then the coverage behind it was even better. The tackling on special teams today was great. I know J. Lou always give Craig Ackerman a hard time, but he did a good job today. He did a good job.
Hey, UT Martin showed up on that one tackle, man. It was a thing of beauty. I had to give him his credit on that.
See, the punt before that, the dude that he tackled made the "you too small" comment to him on the other end, and so Mr. Dowell didn't forget that, and he made a play on next one. I mean, that 71, 72-yard punt. And again, for those that could, there was no wind in the stadium today.
No, none
at all. So this was a straight boom. And Stonehouse, he was more animated than I've probably seen him in a long time because he knew he was feeling it after the very first punt.
Taylor says Jack Del Rio's available.
That's the reason why.
That's the reason why. And then Nick Folks, he shows a little distance today. Hits a 53-yard field goal.
After missing them all in
That's
practice.
right.
That's
right.
Game.
Yep.
That's right. I mean, same thing from last week, right? So, fellas, we look at the AFC South rankings standings after week 12. You got Jacksonville at 8-3, beat the Texans. The Texans had an opportunity to tie the game up, missed the field, donked the field goal off the crossbar. 24-21. Indy beats the Bucks 27-20, and then of course we beat the Panthers. Excuse me. So. Got Indy coming in this week, guys. Home game. G Witt, man. The last time we played them, they ran the ball down our throat. So I know that's going to be a key of emphasis this week. But what else you got for us, man? The Colts coming in, division game, a huge game. Stuff still on the table. If they can put something together. Go ahead, man.
Well, I will say this. The only good thing about that game for us is that it's going to be at home. For some reason, the offensive line plays a lot better at home. They're a little bit more solid and everything. I guess there's no yelling going on, so they don't get confused. So I expect a decent game out of them, hopefully. With Shane Bourne calling this defense, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, after today, I'm just bumfuddled. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Now, like I said, I always yield to the professionals, say they know more than I do. But you can't give me a solid reason for vacating the middle. I can't get over that one.
G, can we say just like you said last year that the Titans won't win another game with Downing calling the plays? Can we say the same thing for Bowen in this situation? Oh man, is it to that point yet?
No, I don't think so. I'll be honest with you because I think I really, in all honesty, I think his talent on that side of the ball and the way that talent plays.
That's right.
I just think that they negate a lot of his stupidity. I'm just gonna call it what it is.
No, you're right.
Yeah. But overall, I'm interested to see how the offense bounces back against that from that game that we lost to Indy. The defense, I would say this. I'm not as concerned about the run game this time because Pop-Tart will be playing.
I hope he is. Right.
Yeah, Pop-Tart will be playing. So I'm not really overly concerned about them running the ball down our throat as much because right now you look at it, really, if you got Bunting on one side and you got McCreary playing the slot, the one thing I do like about McCreary, like I said, he will tackle.
Yeah.
If the running back is coming his way, he's going to come off his man and go make the tackle. So that's the one thing I do like about him being in the slot. I like what they did today. I think if they keep that format as far as the players and the scheme and everything is concerned, minus the vacating the middle, I think we might be okay defensively. Offensively, though, you know what the coach is going to do. They're going to be blitzing.
No,
They're going to do the same thing everybody else did, but the Panthers. They're going to be blitzing. But again, like I said, the offensive line seemed to held up a lot better. We're going to find out about Duncan this on Sunday because it's going to be more of a challenge than what he had. And I thought he held up pretty well today. But it's a different challenge and everything. But we have got to run the ball more frequently with the King and getting the ball and getting out. And surprisingly, he was able to get outside today. And he had his most effective runs were to the outside. So, but again, that's going to be the key. But it's going to be tough. That one's going to be a tough game. And Irsay is chomping at the bit to say we finally
get a sweep, right?
Get a sweep. But I'm just waiting to see if there's going to be anything different from what we saw in the first week of October.
So, J. Lou, the coach did something we couldn't do on the Bucks per se. They ran the ball, had 155 yards today. Jonathan Taylor had 91 for 2 touchdowns. Zach Moss 8 for 55. But how do you see this one playing out for the two-tone blue?
I think it's a little bit better than the first week of October simply because they will spend all week this time game planning for Gardner Minshew instead of him coming in and being the backup quarterback that always beats the Titans. So I think that alone will make it a little bit better. We seem to the run game to G Witt's point. We've got to get that rolling. I will tell you today, and again, it was some damp conditions out there. I mean, it wasn't a rain; it was like a drizzle, but it was one of those muggy late November, December games. Mm-hmm. This is the first game, and again, we've only had 4 at home or whatnot. This was the first one where you could tell that turf was causing some opportunities out there on both sides of the ball. Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how that holds up and how the players semi-adjust. There was a few times the turf monster tackled Derrick Henry on some of the holes he was hitting. Offensive wise, that guard center triangle, it has to be better. I mean, DeForest Buckner is coming in next week, and he's probably gonna line up the entire game over Brewer, just because he can push him back. So again, this is why I'm hoping you made it through the game with no injuries, no offensive lineman came out for injury. Have another good week of practice. Like, this will be the first week you don't have to worry about, okay, who's starting at right tackle, who's starting at left tackle. Let this same 5 go through reps all week long to even get even better. Because as G. Witt pointed out, they're going to have a much bigger challenge next week. And again, I think there's opportunities. And again, our DBs will play off and be scared. But I think on the flip side, there's opportunities for us to get after their young DBs. And if you could just give Will Levis some time, it's one thing I'll say about him that so far, he's a student of the game, and you don't really see him making the same mistakes twice or not. He'll go back and look, and if D-Hop's open again next week, I guarantee he throws that ball and lets it go as a touchdown. So I think we can get after them if we get back to – if we just improve on the run game, and then from a defensive standpoint, you're Minshew is going to be slippery. So you've got to run almost a similar game plan today because he can move his legs, but you want to funnel that back into the middle. And Big Jeff's just going to have some help. You saw it a little bit today, but not as much as far as the 5-man front that you've been yelling about, Ed. So I think you have to see some of that because, again, the last time we played them was Jonathan Taylor just coming off the injury, off the IR, and Zach Moss he had a career day against the Titans. So we've got to be ready for that. But it should be a good divisional game. Again, they've done the one thing you ask any team to do, and that's defend home turf. Yeah. Because they haven't lost a home game in Nissan. They lost one to Baltimore. It was in England, but they haven't lost a home game in Nissan Stadium. So come in and be juiced up like that and get to going. But I think, like I said, Minshew, we've seen him against the Jags. He can be the wild card. He was the wild card to me. Because the defense never changed because you were so ready for Anthony Richardson that game. You didn't change it, and it allowed him to extend some plays. And we're really going to have to see the DBs stick to their man with his playmaking ability to extend plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope that Tim Kelly doesn't get past happy. And let me say this too about Murphy Button. Now, say what you will, he's a physical corner. He'll get some penalties,
Yeah.
but at least he presses.
At least he's pressing. Yeah.
At least he presses.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna get some calls on him, which is fine. But I can take aggressive cornerback all day. I can. Yeah, and Pittman's gonna give us some problems, but I'll put Murphy Button on him. Just let him play up in his face.
Yeah, just put him over on whatever side of the field he lines on. Just
That's
go
right.
with it.
That's right.
You can't let Fulton get on him because
because he go back up 10 yards. Yeah, he gonna get a 10-yard cushion every time.
That's all that's gonna happen.
I was looking at the defensive bunch today and some of those formations, man, and I literally saw Fulton and even SMB sometimes. They were the same depth as the safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are we doing here? So playing 4 safeties across the back end. But anyway, and so yeah, don't let Minshew get comfortable. I think what we saw the last few weeks, we've had mobile quarterbacks. So hopefully that'll help us get prepared. We gotta quit. Even Arden Key went inside today, and I specifically went back and looked at some of those plays when they to see if they were running some games up front. They weren't. They were just running a straight ahead rush. And he goes inside and he gets beat to the outside, gets pinned inside. Weaver the same thing. And so Weaver almost did it again. And he would have probably sacked Bryce Young, but he got the ball away. But again, he jumps outside and he tries to jump back inside. So they got to fix that because Minshew is slippery. He's got some game and he gives us problems every time we play against him. Every time. And so,
even when he was in Jacksonville,
he gave us problems. And so,
but I would say the one thing I am looking forward to, like I said, if the O-line can be decent or adequate, is seeing how Will Levis plays.
Because that's the difference this time, right?
He didn't play in the last game.
That's right. They hadn't seen him. They got film, but
and say what you will, you got to love the way the ball comes out of his hand. Those out routes he was throwing at the beginning of the game were things of beauty. I had to give him his props on that.
I don't even know if y'all could see. He had some sidearm throws too, where he was throwing it. I think that throw to Josh Wiley
it was
nice. They showed it from the end zone view, of course, and it was really nice. But yeah, it was. He said, Will said Fulton will be the wealthiest employee of Subway next year. So yeah, man. Darius says he hopes Burks will play. We'll see. And Burks is still in protocol. We think Burks might be done for the year. Might be done for a while.
I'm shocked they just hadn't put him on IR because I personally, I'm with G. I don't think he's. This one was a little bit more serious, and both of his concussions within a year span, he was knocked unconscious.
Right.
Both times. So I'm shocked you hadn't seen an IR transaction come across yet. I think they're
just holding out hope.
Yeah.
They're just holding out hope for him. But in all honesty, like I said, 2 major concussions inside of 2 seasons. And I said the same thing about Tua last year. I thought he should have retired last year. So I'm saying it the same for Burks. Burks needs to go ahead and retire. He's young, retire, take your money and run.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game. Like I said, they had 6 sacks today against the Bucks. It's gonna be tough on the offensive line, and like you both guys have mentioned, they're gonna blitz a lot, and they're not even a team that likes to blitz a whole bunch. And so, just because of what the success that has been had against Will Levis, although he was only sacked once today,
I thought. My bad, didn't mean to cut you
go
off.
ahead.
I thought both running backs did a much better job in blitz protection today. Because they still, one sack, you hear that, and again, pressure was there. They still were doing some blitzing, but I thought the running backs, Spears and Derrick Henry, both times, they all game was doing great jobs picking them up.
I think that goes to your point, though. When you have the same 5 guys practicing all week on your offensive line, that communication is a lot better.
Yes.
And so that's very key. And we'll see if that's the case. Just hopefully, Vrabel won't do nothing crazy and put Dillard back in there.
he was where he needed to be today on the special teams. He was on field goal block.
If you look at it from this standpoint, man, in all honesty, you look at it. What was it? He only had 8 active offensive linemen on the team, and they all had to play today, ready to play. That's all he's got left. So really, and like you said, there's no need in putting Dillard back there when you got somebody, a young guy, rookie, who actually played pretty decent today. You got to see how he does against, better talent. as far as a defensive line is concerned.
He's gonna get it.
And he's gonna get it. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna get it. But I would say this though, and I think it's worth noting. One of the reasons why I think they play better is the fact that there's not a lot of noise when they're on offense.
No, yeah.
And you can hear better, you can see the adjustments better and all that. So
not only him, but Levis too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Check. Yeah, I mean the whole offense has played a lot better at home, and so it's one thing that this team has working for it is the home games down the stretch, which they win a couple games here, and you just never know. You just never know. Will says you see how Archie ran on the running back. I think the running back made a business decision.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
That was a whip on the cut block. Yes, that was a terrible block by him. Attempt to block. And so, Taylor, I agree with you. He says O-line is a weak point for a lot of teams. You don't. The best offensive lines is you got Kansas City, you got the Eagles, you got the Ravens.
The
Cowboys. I mean, and you see,
and
they all score a lot of points. That's right, homegrown.
I go back to saying it. I think we mentioned it a few weeks back. It's because you have so many teams in college playing the spread type offense, and even in high school. Like I watch you see high school every Friday, and it's majority spread offenses out there, and that's not what the NFL game is per se. When you're trying to change them linemen to be that. So.
Yeah. But hey, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Halftime Adjustments. Eddie Arnett, G with J. Luke, man. Thank y'all for getting all the comments, the questions in, the support of the show. Join us next week, man. Indy comes to town to play at home. Ricky, man, appreciate you joining us tonight. He said,
"What?"
He said, "Vader believes playoffs are possible. What do you guys think?" Hey, man, you just.
And I would say this: if every game they had left was a home game, I would believe it.
Yeah,
but we got a couple of road games on there.
Yeah, that's the thing. They hadn't played well on the road yet.
I just don't know. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, but it's gonna take. It would take a miracle beyond miracles.
They would have to really gel on the offensive side of the ball, on the offensive line, and somebody will have to smack Bowen in his face and say, "You got to call defense." Yes. So, somebody needs to smack himself.
They have to change that's a good one. Mark kind of so good at home, he draws false starts.
Okay? He's right.
100% correct. He had two of them today.
Right. Let's see. Eddie Gray said, don't count KC. Them dudes get benefit officials not calling stuff. Man. Is that Juwan Taylor the false start every snap? Just about.
Yeah. Winning teams too. That's what happens. They get away with a lot more.
They do. They do. And the teams that are not that good don't get any calls.
Don't get any calls.
It's funny how
wait a minute. Hold on. Before we go, I just need your opinion.
Yep.
The fourth down pass play that was an incompletion, but they called it a completion.
In the
first half, I think it was.
For the Panthers?
For the Panthers. Yeah. The replay that they did.
Oh, yeah. In the middle of the field.
Yeah.
So they brought on Dean Blandino, which is the official guru for Fox. And he said because the left hand stayed on the bottom of the ball, it never did move because they said they discussed it during the commercial break. And so that's why they stayed with the call as original as on the field. Since they made the call a completed catch on the field, that's why if you remember what they said the play stands as
I know what they said.
That's what he said on TV. So
J. Lou.
Oh no.
To me, like it moved back. It was the backside of the ball was on the field.
The backside of the ball was on the. I was under the impression that the ref just didn't have a good enough screen. And
I think that's what happened.
He should have just looked up on the jumbotron because
the one we had at the game.
Yeah, you saw the ball turn around. You saw the ball come
literally because on the TV camera angles they had, you couldn't. It was a defender. Of course, I know it was a defender on his back, but there was a defender in front, so you really couldn't see the ball that good.
Man, the one they kept showing in the stadium, it was literally it rolled to the ground.
It rolled to the ground.
If anything, if his hand was on it, the ground helped aid the ball stand to catch it.
His hand was on it, but it was on the front tip of the ball. The backside of the ball hit the ground. Really, it was a trap.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a trap, and that's when I was like, Because when they showed the first replay, I'm like,
that's
that's
like,
incomplete.
yep.
Yeah, I thought it was too. And then, like I said, the replay, you just didn't have a good angle to see it. All them cameras they got in that stadium, or every stadium, they didn't.
Yes.
Taylor put the mad
Yeah, I
faces.
know.
Like
They just didn't do it. They just didn't look at the right one, or they just didn't want to overturn it. That's all that was. Because that.
Oh yeah, I agree. I thought it was incomplete all day. But hey, thank y'all, man, again for joining us tonight. Check us out next Sunday. We'll be back, man. Colts come to Nissan Stadium. Hopefully the weather's a little sunny. Not to sit in the rain. And we'll see, man. We'll see. That's why you lied up and play. We played to win the game.
That's right.
Quote Herm Edwards. So
it's like, hello.
Right. Halftime adjustment, man. Eddie on there, G with J. Lou. Thank y'all for joining us, man. We out of here, man. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.